One of the biggest problems we face, a lot of people look at tariff barriers, they look at non-tariff barriers. One of the biggest problems that Africa faces is the lack of market information. So the trade fair offers an opportunity for exhibitors, buyers and sellers to go and converge and see what is being offered and transact. And we are targeting trade deals of about 25 billion US dollars. So for Nigerians who like to get intermediate goods from Africa for their operations, they need to go to the trade fair. For Nigerians, business people who want to expand their sales and reach out to the wider African market, they need to go to the trade fair, and they'll be able to transact.
So are there structures in place now to get some of this information out there for would-be investors or people who want to get involved? We
have a full brochure outlining all the 20 sectors which we are going to promote. So the information is there. There's also an additional brochure indicating the cost of each area which will be hired for exhibitions. So with full information.
So in the past few days, we've been hearing a lot about the African Free Trade Agreement. I would like to get your key sense on, for the countries who haven't yet, come on board, what you would like to say to them to come on board?
Well, 49 countries have signed. 6 have not signed. The 6, beginning with the West Africa, Nigeria, Guinea-Bissau, and Benin. Then in East Africa, it's Eritrea. In Southern Africa, it's Botswana and Zambia. And we have 6 ratifications. We need 16 more ratifications to get the magic number of 22. When you've got 22 ratifications, the treaty comes into force 30 days after the last ratification. And at the rate that we are going, we are very confident that come 31st December this year, we shall have the 22 ratifications. And this is where the message now comes to those who have not signed. If you come after the agreement has come into force, you no longer come in as a founding state party. You come in by accession. And the parties who are already there can reserve the right to determine the conditions under which you are supposed to accede. So we are pleading with all the 6 that we would like you to join in as state parties. Try to sign as soon as possible.
So for these 6 countries that have not signed on yet, what's the feedback you're getting from them on why they're not?
They are almost there. Nigeria has made it very publicly that it's a matter of time they are going to sign. They needed to do a very fundamental issue of national level consultations. You need to bring in stakeholders on board. And when you do that, there is buy-in. So they are almost there. So I think by the December, I'm confident that all of them would have signed. We are talking to them on a regular basis.
Okay, now I'm trying to be an optimist here, and I'm looking futuristic. I'm looking at life beyond the AFCTA. What do you think will be the next priority for Africa regarding trade when all this is sorted, and then we're looking into the future?
Production and trade go together. Infrastructure development and trade go together. You need to produce quality goods, and a lot of investors are saying, you have given us what we needed, a large market. So they are ready now to produce it to scale to meet the demand of 1.27 billion people. To move those goods across the continent, you need very efficient infrastructure in terms of transport and communications, in terms of energy. We are encouraging investors to come in on their own. We are encouraging governments to invest on their own. We are encouraging the private sector and governments to team up in a public-private partnership to ensure that we scale up infrastructure, the development investments.
I would like to speak to one of the groups you just mentioned now, the private sector. I would like to know the level of involvement or engagement you had with them, before coming up with these agreements, and in the life after.
Very, very deep engagement. We have a long-standing association with the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, whose headquarters is in Addis Ababa. we'll undertake joint activities together, especially as we started the negotiations towards the African Continental Free Trade Area. We teamed up with the Afro Champions Club. These are African multinational companies who want to expand investments across Africa and other parts of the world with a joint memorandum of understanding. Then we had the African Continental Free Trade Area Business Forum a day before the signing of the agreement. And after that, it was decided that it should be institutionalized. So we'll be meeting every year. Then plans are underway to come up with a Pan-African Trade and Investment Committee to advise us on greater private sector involvement in the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. So we have a very positive and very dynamic relationship with the private sector.
But when you look at the continent, all these countries coming together, we're looking at a plethora of currencies here playing together. Is there a plan in place to, at some point, maybe in the future, to get us as Africans to have a unified currency where we can all trade with?
The long term is to have a single currency, but we are not rushing it. And we need it to ensure that we develop the necessary conditions for it to evolve. One of which is to really deepen the level of trade interactions among our countries. But payment systems and settlement systems are very key to de-risking the market. When you are selling abroad, you want to be assured that you are going to be paid. That is key to ensure that there's a trading relationship with the two parties. So we have teamed up with the African Export-Import Bank to come up with a digital payments and settlement system to ensure that people are paid on time and in full. And then we do the settlements towards the end of the year. So we are moving in that direction. But over time, when we have deepened our level of economic integration, the stage will come when we talk of a single currency.